was an impressive week at Spanish Springs Lanes during the PBA50 United Healthcare Sun Bowl in the Villages. After completing 32 games, super senior Ron Moore, who led for almost the entire tournament, averaged over 245 to earn the top spot, followed by Pete Weber, defending Sun Bowl champion Mike Scroggins, super senior Tom Baker, and Joel Carlson. The first game was the closest match of the finals, with Carlson coming out on top, 224 to 213. Carlson's lucky breaks continued as he defeated Scroggins 268 to 217 in the second game. Then came a matchup against the legendary Pete Weber.
Well, the first match, I was kind of worried coming in because Joe was bowling really good. He just shot 269, and I was like, well, I got my work cut out for me. And then I got a good break there, and then he got a bad one, and I just kind of took advantage of that.
Weber looked determined to win and did just that, finishing off Carlson 268 to 223. Then the crowd was set to see if Moore could continue his incredible scoring streak. But unfortunately, Moore missed just his second spare over 32 games, and then it happened again. All those watching were in shock.
Ron just, it happens to everybody. We all do it. We've all done it. We've missed spares back to back and then throw another good shot and then get a split. So, and I can't say how much I feel for Ron Moore. He led the tournament, so he deserved better than that. But as far as winning, it never gets old.
Weber defeated Moore 204 to 162 to win the trophy and the check for $7,500.
I just can't wait to come back next year. Can we bowl here next week too? I love it. It's just so much fun here. I've never had a bad year here at the Villages, and I can't thank the Ducats enough for having us every year, and it's just an honor and privilege to be here.
Owner and proprietor of Spanish Springs Lanes, Larry Ducat, and his staff put on another successful event.
We always have bleachers. It creates a stadium effect. It's a completely different environment, and you're up close to the professionals. I mean, you're right there. You can hear their comments and feel like you're really involved in when they get a strike or when they miss a spare, you feel them for them. Well, it was great. We had our Pro-Am entry was up this year over last year, which is fantastic, and our crowd attendance during the week was up each day compared to last year. So the support we've had from the bowling community here has been fantastic, and having a champion like Pete, who's probably one of the greatest bowlers, and he comes from a great bowling family, just puts the icing on the cake, and he put on a great show, and that's what it's all about, is entertainment for our bowling community.
Larry says he couldn't possibly have asked for a better ending to this year's Sun Bowl. The PBA50 Tour will be returning to Spanish Springs Lanes the fourth week in April next year. Some of the best senior bowlers in the country and even the world have taken over Spanish Springs Lanes. On Saturday, area residents had the chance to bowl alongside these greats during a Pro-Am. And on Sunday, the 160-player field kicked off the 2017 United Healthcare Sun Bowl in the Villages.
Ducat family has been running or hosting PBA tournaments for years and years now. They know what they're doing, so we don't have a lot to worry about here. Everything runs smooth, and they're great proprietors. Well, that's very exciting. We've got full field and a waiting list. This is always a popular event for the players. We're going to go through 2 days of qualifying, cut to the top 32, and I think what makes this so meaningful to the players is that there's so many people that come out here to enjoy this tournament and cheer the players on, that that's what's so special about this event. They just love the people that are here. They treat us like kings, and so everybody has a great time at the Villages. Our defending champion is Pete Weber, who is my brother. I kind of expect him to be up there again, but there's a number of great players here. We've got a number of PBA Tour champions here: Ryan Schaefer, Michael Haugen, Amleto Monticelli, Bob Learn, Johnny Petraglia, other PBA Hall of Famers, Walter Ray Williams Jr., who has more PBA Tour titles than anyone. So it's a tough field.
To help keep the Sun Bowl tournament running smoothly, dedicated volunteers are utilized to write down the players' scores after each game and assist in other areas.
I'm a volunteer here, yes. Listed as a scorer, but I'm a runner. I pick up the score sheets and bring them into the office. I love bowling, so I started out setting up pins back in 1949, so I just keep on going.
I enjoy being with the bowlers, and we share a lot in common. I'm a good bowler too, so I appreciate this. Back in the mid 80s, I bowled like these guys. I was a regional bowler, but not good enough to become as good as these guys became. Well, the excitement is to see these bowlers that we've been following for the last 25, 30 years on television. They represent the sport the way we want it to be. When you see a name like Pete Weber, Amelio Monticelli, Parker Bone, Johnny Petraglia, it gives you this juice that you feel like you're part of that.
The stepladder finals of the Sun Bowl in the Villages begins at 7 p.m. Tuesday at Spanish Springs Lanes. The 2017 PBA50 United Healthcare Sun Bowl in the Villages began with a Pro-Am, and then on Tuesday night at Spanish Springs Lanes it ended with an exciting stepladder finals.
We have 42 PBA Tour titles among the top 5. Of course, Parker Bone has 35 of those. 42 PBA Tour titles. We've got 11 PBA50 Tour titles.
The final 5 bowlers included Wesley Chapel, Florida resident Darren Hayes, Bob Learn Jr., Sam Macarone, PBA Hall of Famer Parker Bone III, and Wisconsin native Lenny Borsch Jr., who led the tournament from the very first qualifying round. In the first game, number 5 seed Bob Learn defeated Darren Hayes, who had rolled 2 perfect 300 games during qualifying rounds earlier on Tuesday. Learn advanced, winning 199 to 173. Next up for Learn was fellow right-hander Sam Macarone. Learn found his shot and rolled off an impressive 278 game against Sam's 185. Learn then took on southpaw Parker Bone III in the semifinals. Learn continued to strike in Game 3 as Bone had to be basically perfect to beat him. Learn threw 11 out of 12 strikes to win 279 to 245. Then it was time for the championship match featuring Learn, who had climbed the step ladder, and the 2012 winner of the same event, Borsch. Borsch found his line early while rolling Storm's Sherlock, which was the ball that helped him lead the tournament overall. His final game was filled with strikes to defeat Learn 264-213 to win the title.
It's hard to win out here, and all your life you chase the dream, and and this is just part of it, I guess. Feels good though, feels real good. Yeah, the one ball I think just worked a lot of magic. I usually like this pattern, but that's kind of the key, is getting the one ball. But I tried to stay with that ball as much as I could. But that definitely Storm products. I bowl for Storm. They got the best equipment in the world, and that obviously makes a big difference for me. Having the right ball in your hand, any of these guys. So awesome.
Lenny and all of the other bowlers were appreciative of the Villages crowd that was out in full force during the tournament.
I heard in the Villages like this is like the #1 sport. I thought golf would be, but I heard it's bowling, So they know what they're doing here, and they know the game, and they know who these guys are, and hopefully they know me now a little bit.
In the April 21st sports section of the Villages Daily Sun, my column on the late Daryl Ducat, who partnered with his son Larry to own and operate Fiesta Bowl and Spanish Springs Lanes, featured a picture of Daryl handing the trophy to Lenny back in 2012 at the Sun Bowl. As it seems, the stars were aligned.
One of my buddies came down to watch me bowl, and he flew down, and I was driving from Tampa, and he sent me the picture of the paper with, he goes, Lenny, I think this is an omen. So obviously it was. So yeah, it's pretty special, especially I lost my dad a couple years ago, so I know it is. And my dad came with me bowling all the time. I know what they're going through, especially in the bowling circle and stuff like that. So that's for him too, so awesome.
After winning the tournament, Lenny also learned that himself, Bob Learn, Johnny Petraglia, and Ron Moore had won the World Championships as well. Lenny also took home a $7,500 check as the Sun Bowl winner. Before the finals of the Sun Bowl began on Tuesday night, Spanish Springs Lanes proprietor Larry Ducat made a good news, bad news announcement about the tournament. The Sun Bowl won't be back next year, but it's going to be even better.
We need the national championship here in the Villages. So next year, it will be good for us. You guys deserve this. So thank you so much. It's been a great tournament for us.
That's awesome. I was here and I was going, oh, bummer, me and my wife going to go enjoy our vacation at and bowl, But yeah, that's great. Looking forward to that. That should be something special.
Next year, the 2018 PBA50 National Championship will be held right here at Spanish Springs Lanes, April 21st to the 25th. For more about Lenny's win and Spanish Springs Lane's victory, pick up Wednesday's sports section.
When we had the chance to bring a major to the PBA 50 for this year, I naturally jumped at it because we always held the national championship for the kids tour, say, back in the 80s and 90s. And so now to have an opportunity to bring that to the 50 tour, it was a no-brainer. We had to do it.
Everybody comes out for this tournament because it's a major, and it's a big plus in your career if you get this. And so it's just exciting to be here for this tournament, yeah. I love this tournament. They really get behind the hometown bowlers and they really cheer, and it's exciting.
It's pretty intense here. The place is crowded, it's packed with spectators. When you're bowling and you turn around and you see a wall of faces, that's a thrill. Everybody loves coming here.
It's a privilege for me and my wife and my family to be able to bring this tournament to this community. They deserve it. It's the best bowling community in the country for seniors.
After 18 games of qualifying and 16 games of match play, the top 5 bowlers took to the stepladder finals on Saturday evening. In the first match, number 5 seed Parker Bone III, the only left-hander in the finals, got things started against number 4 seed Walter Ray Williams Jr. The two familiar players had some fun early in the match, but it was the southpaw who came out on top as Bone defeated Williams 257 to 221. In the second match, Bone took on defending champion Lenny Borsch Jr. Borsch quickly got off to a strong start and won 248 to 221. Borsch then defeated Ron Moore 242 to 232. After Moore finished up his match, he headed into the crowd to thank the fans sitting in the bleachers and standing during the stepladder finals. All week they had been packed inside Spanish Springs Lanes cheering on the field of senior bowlers. Then it was time for the championship match. Borsch had to face Claremont resident Norm Duke, another crowd favorite. Both players struggled to find the right look on the lanes early, resulting in a close match throughout. Duke held a slight lead going into the 10th frame, but he couldn't strike, leaving the door open for Borsch. The Wisconsin native threw the first 2 strikes in the 10th frame and fell to his knees in celebration of earning the 198 to 192 victory over Duke, who had dominated the field. Borsch seems to love bowling here in the Villages, considering this is his 3rd victory and first major championship title, which also earned him the coveted Champions Green Jacket, presented to him by Villager and PBA50 pro Bob Chamberlain.
I got hot today. I bowled really, really good today. Better than I could imagine. And it kind of carried through the stepladder. So very fortunate. Norm didn't bowl a really great game. You know, he gave me a chance, and fortunately I was able to take advantage of it. It's just, yeah, it hasn't really sunk in. You know, I mean, it's probably going to sink in tomorrow or later on tonight, but yeah, it definitely feels really, really good.
Borsch says winning the tournament in the final few frames was a dream come true, and every time he bowls in the Villages, he feels at home with all the support he receives. Along with the title of being a national champion, Borsch also earned a trophy and a check for $10,000. It was yet another successful tournament for Spanish Springs Lanes owner Larry Ducat and his family.
I could feel the difference being a major, and hopefully the fans did. I know the players certainly did. You could see it in the last match. It's a major. It's a big deal. There's only 4 a year. You know, it's like any other sport. And you could see it in the intensity and the little mistakes they made that last game. And it was exciting. Crowds were great all week. The bowling was fantastic. I mean, the scores weren't what we used to have, but the competition was phenomenal. And it comes down to the last ball. What more could you want? It was just a great show.
Fans have even more to cheer about, as once again the Villages will be a national championship tour stop for the PBA 50 again next year, starting April 22nd.
National Championship will be 3 days of qualifying, 2 full days of match play with the finals on that night. So it's going to be an added day, and the fans should love it.
PBA50 Tournament Director John Weber says the Villages is absolutely one of the top venues in the country on the tour schedule, and they are happy to bring the National Championship back to Spanish Springs Lanes next year.